Now, tomorrow night, all paths lead to Wolverhampton Racecourse. No, there isn't a meeting on. It is the Asian Black Country Business Awards. Ninder Johal is the man who thought up the idea. He's the man who's got to do all the work. Well, so he tells me. Is that right? How is it going? Are you all organised and done?
We're pretty well sold out. 450 people there. Your good self's going to be there as well.
I am indeed, yes.
And one of the reasons behind it is I'm a firm believer that this region doesn't shout. This region doesn't tell the world why it's so good. It doesn't tell the rest of the country why it's so good. So I think that this is an opportunity to shout about both the wealth-creating businesses we have in the area, but what's so fantastic about the region.
But when you first came up with this idea, did people take some, convincing?
Yeah, absolutely, because people said, well, what's it about and what do we get out of it? And now, of course, people say, well, actually, I'm glad you do it, because on that weekend, how else would we go out and meet all these wonderful businesses? So it's become quite a networking.
So what do they get out of it then?
A couple of things then. They first get a chance, so particularly say for new businesses, they have 500 people, 500 potential clients to get across. Then we have a lot of media, Express and Star, social media. I mean, just to give you an example, last year, 175,000 people touched the photos through social media.
Wow.
So 175,000 people saw the winners, and 175,000 people heard about it. We expect to double that this year. So the social media, of course, the local print media covers it, and we have some channels that are turning up on the night as well, so there's TV channels as well. And of course, you have an opportunity not only to look for sales, but to look for suppliers on the night. It's a lot of networking, as I said. So a lot there to benefit from.
The fact that it is, as I said in the introduction, it is Asian Business Awards. Do you ever think that maybe it should be just business awards and it should encompass everybody?
Let me answer that one. You're right, it now no longer has the word Asian. I know you introduced it, but it no longer has the word Asian. And actually, we've removed the black country out of it as well. And I'll tell you why, because we now live in a different world. We live in a world where the black country is now part of the West Midlands. We now live in a world where the West Midlands is part of the Midlands engine. So we're talking regional. So I think that's two things then. So we've taken the geography element out of it. So we want people to reach out to their hinterland in order to increase sales. And absolutely, you'll find out, some of the nominees are definitely not Asian.
Right, yeah.
So absolutely, so yes, that has been a trend coming. And of course, we all as a community have to integrate.
And of course, now with the West Midlands Combined Authority coming up, that kind of changes things as well, doesn't it? Because it's 2.3 million people. It goes from sort of Coventry to Kidderminster, Birmingham north to south. So that is a huge area for everybody to take part in.
Well, absolutely. I think the other thing we mustn't forget, we now live in a global marketplace where businesses start and can terminate with the touch of a button. So I think, again, this just tells people to think outside of their parochial areas and start to think about trading and doing commercial deals on a much wider platform. And as a region, I think we can attract more inward investment because people in China and Japan and India don't see Sandwell or Black Country. They see a whole region that they're investing in. Because let's face it, most people travel to work within an hour, so you need to look at an hour's travel distance.
Of course, it is Black Country Day today. We are in Black Country Week and the Black Country Festival, so there's still plenty for people to think about and celebrate on that side as well, isn't there?
Absolutely. I mean, and let's not forget, the venue itself is in the Black Country, so you can imagine there'll be a lot of people attending that are from the Black Country, but we do get a wide range of people from all over. Some of the nominees are from Coventry, there's some from Leicester, some from Nottingham, so we're getting a wide range of people coming into there, and it's great for local economy as we bring visitors from outside.
And having been there myself last year, it is a great social night, isn't it?
Well, this is when you ask the first question, what is in it for you? It's both commercial, both business, chance for you to tell the world how good you are, chance for you to study how brilliant other businesses are. But more than anything, I think that's where social media, there's a limit to it, because at the end of the day, people still need to trade with people. And the night is great. We have a 3-course great Indian meal, and we have some great entertainment. We have wonderful people like you attending. So yeah, it's a great night all around, and that's what I want. When people leave the night, they think, we had a good time, and we saw some great businesses, and we did some deals.
And the thing is, it is a political night with a small p. Now with a big P, we've just got a change of Prime Minister. How have you as a businessman see this?
Well, isn't it interesting that the number 1 and number 2 job in the government are both remain? Now that's interesting that the country as a whole, 52% decided they wanted out, yet the two people leading the government, number 1, 2, are Remainers. So I think from a business perspective, which on the whole, not totally, on the whole, were for staying in, I think that bodes well. I'm still struggling to see how they can reconcile the two, which is free trade and free movement of people. And I suppose all we can do is sit back, which is not good because we don't know what that uncertainty looks like, sit back and try and project what the future looks like, not knowing how your exports and imports are going to map out. So it remains, I think, still a very complicated and uncertain picture.
Would you say that most of the people who will be there tomorrow who are in business in some shape or form, that most of what they do would be Europe, or have they already sort of moved on from there?
Well, interesting. Our keynote speaker, a chap called Paul Lally, he operates on 6 continents. Interestingly, 4 of them are outside the EU. So it'll be interesting how he views how the EU, the Brexit thing affects him, because his products are sold to such a diverse set of customers. So I suppose if anything, one thing we can learn from this is that, and they're telling you business, do not rely on one customer. So as a UK, if we're relying 45% on just the EU, I think at some point we had to change that. And maybe this is a change, but it will take a while to get into these territories. It's not easy.
And dare I say, as a final thought, that many of the people there tomorrow night were running their businesses where Mrs. Thatcher was in Downing Street. And what do they think about another lady being there?
I don't think there's any issue between gender. I think the job needs to be done. And I think at the end of the day, if we have an environment where businesses can flourish, we have an environment that has an element of certainty, and an environment where fiscally and from a monetary perspective it's well run, who cares what the person looks like?
That's a very fair point. Well, tomorrow night it's the Business Awards for the Black Country.
And I look forward to seeing you there.
And so do I look to seeing you as well. You can go away and write your speech now. That's it from Ninder and myself. I'll see you again, talking more politics in the next part.